I'm going to ask you a question, and this is one of those questions where we already know the answer up front, but I'm just going to ask it for rhetorical reasons. When you're engaging with a really strongly narcissistic person, do you ever find yourself walking away from that encounter, shaking your head thinking, what does it take to get through to this person? And you just think to yourself, I can't reason with them. There's just a core illogic that narcissists will live with, and in their minds, they're completely right. You can't tell them anything. They've just got to be in charge. Have you ever had that experience? And when you're in the presence of that person who has this gross illogic, but then that sense of entitlement and specialness, it leaves you with all sorts of emotions like anger and hurt and feeling rejected, or you wind up being defensive when really you don't need to defend yourself. You feel futile and you feel empty. And then there, to our point here with what I'm going to talk to you about today, you feel befuddled or you're perplexed. There's a sense of disbelief like, did he really just say that? Or does she really think that this is a reasonable way to go? And when you think about it, narcissistic individuals can operate with their own alternate reality, which is a defining feature of narcissism. You have your way that you believe life should be, but they have theirs, and in their minds, there's only one way to go, and it's not yours. So to that effect, I've been jotting down some questions that I'd like to be able to ask the narcissist if we could have some sort of understanding of why they are the way they are. Now, when I say I have these questions, I know that they'll never answer them straight up. But I want to run through some of these questions that I have for the narcissist that leaves me just shaking my head. And I want you to see if you can relate to this. And in doing so, maybe we can learn a thing or two about what we're up against. First question I'd like to ask, and that is, why do you it's okay to dominate others? Whatever happened to the concept of equality? Well, one of the core ingredients of narcissism is their strong need for control. They are so enamored with themselves and their thoughts and their ideas and their preferences that they have no need to engage with you in a way that allows you to have free choice. One of the core ingredients, I believe, of a healthy relationship is we have a lot of freedom back and forth. I'm equal to you and you're equal to me, and you get to make your thoughts and have your opinions and impressions just as I do, and we engage with each other with that kind of thinking leading the way. But the narcissist is like, I don't need to let you be you. Let me be in charge. And I'm going to tell you what to do. And if you have an opinion, well, you're automatically wrong. And it shows how they're deeply embedded in a black and white, all or nothing kind of thinking with the narcissist being the only one who really matters. And they're the ones who has the final word. That's the way they operate. Or another question I'd like to ask. What is it about showing understanding that's so off-putting to you? When we engage with each other, there are always going to be times when we have different perspectives or feelings or we disagree. And the mark of healthiness is the ability to say, slow down. I know you think differently from me. Let me hear from you. Explain to me why you arrived at that conclusion, or I can tell that this is more important to you than I really realized. What's going on there? And you can actually have a willingness and an ability to say, hey, we're all in this together. I want to know you just as I know you, you want to know me. Let's see if we can make that work. Narcissists, no empathy. Why would I need to be empathetic when it's all about me? And so they will not show understanding. Or kind of tailing off on that, another question. Why do you have such a low curiosity about others? Did you forget you're not the only person who has experiences and things that they might be able to share in a relationship? And one of the things we realize is narcissists are really not curious about you. Now, they want to collect data on you, so they may pick up on experiences or opinions that you have and ask you to tell more, but it's not because they really want to know you more at a heart level. They want to know you so they can have information, so if they ever need to use it against you, they can. They're not curious about other individuals. Or another thought, kind of along the same lines. Whatever happened to your sense of compassion? Or we could throw in other words. Whatever happened to your sense of kindness or tenderness? Are those characteristics that awkward? Do you have so much difficulty being sympathetic towards other individuals? And in their mind, it's like, well, I'm a compassionate person. You just don't see it. You're too stupid. And they really do not have a heart and a tenderness toward other individuals. Or another one, and this is a big one. What's so threatening about just admitting that you're wrong? Or admitting that you have weaknesses, or admitting that you have needs, or admitting that you hurt, or admitting that you have confusion. And part of humanity is that none of us are perfectly wired together in a wonderful way where everything goes right. And so when we come upon those moments where our flaws or our imperfections show up, can we just simply say, yep, there it is. I've got my flaw. Why don't we talk about this and let's see if we can pool our efforts together and be a team? Narcissists is like, no, they've got that false shield, and they have to have this sense of impenetrability, and where they cannot be seen as somebody that has any kind of kinks in the armor or any kind of flaws or weaknesses. Another question: why do you feel the need to keep so many secrets? Narcissists, they're constantly posturing. They want to be on the high end of things, and so they'll let you know the good stuff, but then they have all sorts of things behind the scenes that they don't want you to know. And it could be their flaws and weaknesses, as I just mentioned, or it could be things like how they spend money, or who they spend time with, or what their preferences and priorities are. They just don't want you to know what's going on. And this takes us to another word, accountability. What is it about that word accountability that's so off-putting to you? And it's like, to them, accountability means they're giving up their power, and they're ascribing a certain kind of allegiance to you that makes them beholden to you, and there is no way that they want to be beholden to anyone. How about another question? When you give the silent treatment, or if you ghost someone, exactly what are you hoping to accomplish? And of course, they may just say something like, well, when I become silent, it's because there's just so much over there on your side that just means nothing to me that I can't even relate to you. And they put it all back on you because that's a very common thing that they do. They may glare at you. They may become evasive or unavailable. But in their silence, it's a control tactic. And basically they're saying, you are so beneath me that you don't deserve the right or the dignity to have us talk things out in a clean kind of way, but they can't admit it. All they know is the reason they go silent, or the reason they become evasive, is because it's your problem. Or how about another question? You can be so easily triggered with anger. What's that all about? Now, I understand that each one of us have moments where we feel angry, and there are things that can create anger in a legitimate kind of way, and we feel frustrated, annoyed, and irritable. And so we can have that emotion, but there are actually clean ways that we can manage that, and the narcissist can't even go close to that. But when the narcissist goes to their place of anger and agitation so easily, a follow-up question to that is, are you in that much pain? The anger reflects the pain that they feel on the inside. It's like, I can't stand it that the world is just not a friendly place for me. And so they have a fear. They're threatened by the things that are out there. But instead of saying that, they just go to their place of anger and they do the blame game, and they make you try to feel like you're a nobody. And then another question we can ask, as long as we're on the topic of that, do you not realize that your form of managing anger only perpetuates more anger, not just in you, but in everyone else? And they just don't have any kind of sense of understanding about the disruption they create in a very broad kind of way. Or how about this question? Are you sure you need no guidance from anyone? Narcissists, they will not take counsel from people. On a professional front, people ask me, well, do narcissists ever come to your counseling office for counseling? And the answer is yes, sometimes they do. Usually it's because someone's mad at them or they're making them come in. But whenever a narcissist is in my office, it typically is for the purpose of defending their case or explaining to me why the other person's so lousy. Very rarely do they say, I'm struggling. They may at first because they know they're supposed to. Let's say they had an affair and they can't get out of it, or they cheated, or they had a really wild anger outburst and it's glaringly obvious. So they may admit it just for the sake of that. But then when it comes down to really saying, I want to learn and I want to be a different person, doesn't happen. They do not receive counsel. Now, we could go on and on with these kind of questions, but let's go back to our word illogic. Narcissists don't operate according to the same logic that healthy individuals would do. They've got a mind of their own and they can rationalize pretty much anything. And so your attempts to ask these kinds of questions and more for the purpose of getting them to have an understanding of you are going to be completely futile. Go bang your head against a brick wall. You're going to have better results. So let's conclude with this. I guess we're just going to have to say that we'll just keep our questions to ourselves. And then because of that, we're going to have to make room for a whole lot of unfinished business between ourselves and that narcissist. And that's a place where a lot of people get themselves in trouble. They want to tie it down. They want to have everything completed and finished and understood. With narcissists, you're going to have a lot of loose ends. You're going to have a lot of unfinished business. And then let's say, why don't we save our emotional energy? Why don't we save our sense of curiosity and discussion for people who actually do know how to manage relationships properly? I think that would be a much better investment of our time and our emotional energy. I do hope that videos such as this will stimulate some thought in you. And if you've not already hit the subscribe button, please hit it and we'll keep you apprised of more videos that come along. I want you to check out our website, survivingnarcissism.tv. We're putting new stuff on there all the time. Got quizzes and articles and videos. I think you're going to find it to be pretty stimulating. It'll help explain in a further way what we're talking about here. If you have a need for online counseling, and I know that many of you would prefer to have counseling in the comfort of your own home or in your own schedule, we've vetted a group, and there's a link below that would allow you to search for that, and I've gotten good feedback on that. If you have a need for at-home testing for hormonal issues, we have a sponsor that we're working with that can help you with that because there's so much interplay between your emotions and your physical life. And then in addition, we have links to my books, my online workshops, and even coffee mugs. So let's wrap with this kind of thought. You may not be able to bring a narcissist into logic with you, but I'm hoping that there's a sense of reason and appropriateness that you live with and that guides you. And in doing so, it's your way of saying that person does not have the final word over me. I'm drawing my sense of direction from within myself based on what I realize is healthy and appropriate. I wish for you peace.